Hello students. So today we are going to start with the next concept that is asexual reproduction in plants. So yesterday we have finished about the reproduction, its definition, types of reproduction, and also about the types of asexual reproduction, that is in animals we have studied. Today with respect to the plants we are going to study the asexual reproduction. Okay, so as we know, we have studied in our previous standards in morphology of flowering plants about the modifications of all the parts of the plants, like modification of root, modification of stem and leaves. We know what are the modified form of all these things. Okay, so those modified structures are nothing but here vegetative propagules. Okay, so what happens in a plants, not all the plants can perform sexual reproduction. Some they can perform even asexual reproduction also in the means of vegetative propagation. So this vegetative propagation has done by using the units of vegetative propagation. Those are called as vegetative propagules. And these propagules are none other than what I have told, the modifications of stems, leaves, okay, roots, etc. So here there are few vegetative propagules. So those are eye spots, bulbil, leaf buds, rhizome, offset, and in another or other vegetative propagules like runners in grass, suckers in chrysanthemum, tuber in sweet potato, and bulb in onions. Okay, we'll start with the eye spot. So eye spots, we can see the dark patches or spots on the potato, which we call it as eye spot, which helps to grow into a new plant. So how, when we keep it in a, you can try it in your home, when just cut it the potato above the eye spot thing, okay, those spots, and keep it in the water, or you can drop into the soil also. So after some days you can see there will be leaflets formation, okay, sprouting of those the new organisms. So same thing in bulbil also. Bulbil is one of the vegetative propagules in agave, and they contains bud-like structures around them. They enclose that bud-like structures. If we remove and if we drop in a water or in a soil or on the soil, what happens? There will be formation of new agave. Yes, daughter agaves we can tell. Okay, next is leaf buds, or it is also called as adventitious buds. Okay, these buds we can see in bryophyllum, what we call brahmakamala, with the beautiful white large flowers which blooms in the evening only. So where the leaves of bryophyllum, there will be margins. We know the structure of leaves also. The margins of the leaves, what happens? There will be formation of adventitious buds like this, okay, which will grow into the new plantlet. So next one, the rhizome. Okay, the rhizome, what we call, we see it as a root, but that is stem modification, right? We have studied in modification of stems. So rhizome is one of the stem modification in ginger and turmeric. Okay, same thing. When you sow this in the soil, what happens? A new plantlet will be formed. Okay, so next one, offset. Okay, these offsets are again the stem modification, okay, which makes the plants to float, which is maximum contains parenchyma tissues. The parenchyma is converted into parenchyma tissue, so that the plant will float on top of the water. And example is, well-known example is Eichhornia. So this, what you can see, this is the offset. Okay, so what happens? This Eichhornia is also called as water hyacinth, or sometimes it is also called as terror of Bengal. So why it is called as terror of Bengal? As we know, terror indicates some negative thoughts. When you recall terrorist or terrorism or terror, you feel like some negative thing. Okay, here also what happened, Indians, what they thought, they exported this exogenous, like exotic breed. This is not from India. Eichhornia is not from the India. They are from the foreign countries. What they have done, Indians or some scientists or some peoples, what they have done, they bought these Eichhornia because of their beautiful leaves and inflorescence. Okay, inflorescence is beautiful violet color flowers. Because of these two character, they thought you to use this Eichhornia as a ornamental plant. But what happened, this during its growth, what they have done, they have grown vigorously on the top of the water, so that they trapped the sunlight within the water. We know within the water, along with the aquatic animals, there will be aquatic plants also, which is submerged in the water. So what happens, because of the scarcity of oxygen or light, there will be depletion of oxygen within the water. This leads, or this led to the death of organisms which is present within the water. So because of this reason, okay, they are called as terror of Bengal. That happened in Bengal. So we can see the best example to see how it vigorously grow on the top of the surface of water. I can give you the Unkal Lake example, which is in between Hubli and Dharwad. Okay, you are acquainted, you know, I guess, the Unkal Lake. You have seen already the plants or the vegetation on top of the surface of Unkal Lake. That is what Eichhornia. Whenever we remove it, it will vigorously, if one offset or one Eichhornia plant, if we left, no, within a month it will cover the whole lake. This is what the negative character of Eichhornia. Okay, they grow vigorously and they trap the sunlight. Because of no sunlight, there is no photosynthesis, no oxygen formation within the water. Hence it is called as terror of Bengal. So other than these, okay, these are all kind of natural vegetative propagation which is performed naturally by the plants. There are some man-made vegetative propagation also, like artificial, we can say artificial vegetative propagation. Okay, we'll look after this. So this is what the natural vegetative propagation done with the help of our vegetative propagules. These above are the vegetative propagules and these are the examples. Please remember, this is very important question. They may ask either the vegetative propagule or the species or the plant name. Okay, they may give agave, ginger, potato, bryophyllum. You need to write its respective vegetative propagule. Like this questions may come, important concept. Okay, this is what our natural vegetative propagation. Will go now next to the artificial vegetative propagation. Okay, so this artificial vegetative propagations, there are many types of methods of artificial vegetative propagation. Today we are going to discuss 4. Within all these, we are going to describe or discuss only 4 artificial vegetative propagation. Those are, first one, cutting. Next one, layering. Third one, grafting. And the last type is micro propagation, or this micro propagation is also called as tissue culture. Okay, these all are performed by the persons or human beings, not by the plants itself. So hence it is called as artificial vegetative propagation. Okay, why they use other than natural vegetative propagation? Why people use artificial? Why? Because of, see, the plants will grow outside, that is within the environment and nature. We know there are unfavorable conditions also, like sometimes in drought season there will be scarcity of water, the plant may be attacked by like pathogens, or they should suffer from several diseases. Okay, and sometimes some plants are sterile also, they are unable to produce the fruits. Okay, we have seen, like we call them as a wild plants, where we can't see, like example we take a rose plant, one we buy from the farms with a beautiful flowers and lot of flowering. But when we compare this rose plant with a wild rose plant, in wild rose plant, what we expect? So there is no flowering. If the flowering is there, there is no proper flowering, the flowers are not good, the petals are not correctly arranged, not more flowers. Okay, these are some disadvantages of wild plants which is present in the nature. So why the peoples have started this artificial vegetative propagation? Because to get a desired character, to get a desired plant. Okay, if I want a beautiful looking flower, well arranged petals, what I do, I'm sure I'll go it for artificial vegetative propagation. Okay, so because of these conditions, what happened, they are opted this artificial vegetative propagation. The first one will start with simple cutting. Okay, what they do in cutting, okay, just imagine this is the stem, okay, a portion of stem, and these are internodal region, and these are, yes, nodal region, or we can say nodes, and these as internodes, right? We know what is nodes and internodes, and maximum the buds arises from the nodal region. We know this concept. Okay, so based on this concepts, what they do during the cutting, okay, they cut the stem in such a way they have a many nodal portions, and they dip this nodal portion, this nodal region into, yes, the solution containing one of the phytohormones, that is auxins. We know auxins helps in growth, like mitotic division. Okay, what happens? They cut this stem portion at the nodal region, and they dip this stem part in the auxins. Okay, they drop this plant in a solution containing auxins. Then what happens? After some days, this nodal region, there will be what? Formation of roots, like this. Roots are formed, or from the adventitious, we call it as adventitious roots, like, right? Adventitious root. What happens once these roots are formed? They keep it in soil for the growth of a plant. This is what cutting. We also do cutting in house, like hibiscus. Okay, what we do? We remove, we cut the stem. At which part we cut the stem? Especially at the nodal region. That is very important, because the roots will arise from the nodes, the pericycle part of the nodes. Remember, do you remember the section of root or stem which contains a pericycle region? Okay, where that is a vascular bundle cover or wall of the vascular bundle, pericycle, and our roots will casually arise from these pericycle. Okay, so hence we cut at the nodal region itself, so that the roots will grow and we can keep it in soil for the further growth of the plant. This is what the simple cutting artificial vegetative propagation. Okay, so the next thing is layering, and based on its like performance, this layering classified into two types. One is ground layering, and next is second one is air layering. Okay, by the name indicates, ground means soil level, ground level. Air layering means above the ground level, into the air or atmosphere. Okay, how they do this layering? What happens? I'll explain in ground layering. Like some jasmine. Okay, we can see this characters in jasmine plant. Imagine this is a jasmine plant. Okay, so what happens? This will be our ground level. Okay, this is the ground, above the ground. So what happens? One of the branch of jasmine plant, if it tilt, if it is tilted to the ground level, what happens? From the nodes of the stem, if they attach to the soil, there will be formation of roots, and above they grow and they form a new plantlet like this. So this is the ground level layering. Okay, so this is what ground layering. Next, what happens in air layering? Just imagine this is stem portion, this is a branch of a stem. What they do, they cut the outer dead or dried part of the stem. Okay, so like this. They cut the outer dried part, like it may be barks, okay, cambium region, secondary cambium region, and they leave this vascular portion intact with the plant. And next, what they do, they put soil like this, they cover with mud or soil, and they wrap, okay, with the plastic. Okay, what they do, they cut the outer layer, they keep intact the vascular tissue layer, so that there will be continuous supply. Okay, after some days, what happens, after keeping it for some days, there will be from this vascular layer, there will be formation of roots like this. Okay, then what they do, they cut this portion and they sow in soil. So what happens, there will be formation of new plant. So this is what at the above the ground layer, and this is below the ground layer layering. So hence it is called as layering. Okay, and the third one are called as grafting. Okay, this how we do, there are many types of grafting. I'll explain you only one. Okay, it is enough. What they do, they cut, usually this is ground layer, these are our low roots, and this is the stem portion. Okay, just imagine, as I told, a rose plant, a wild and a good flower yielding rose plant and a wild plant. We want within this wild plant also flowering. So then what we can do, just imagine this is the wild rose plant where I have cutted this stem slantly. Okay, this is a slant cut. Always the grafting has done by the slant cut or something like that only. So what happened, this, the main plant where we want to get the yield, that portion or section of stem, we call it as stalk. Okay, the other portion where we attach okay, it may be plant like this. This portion is called as scion. Okay, here what they do, they tie with the plastic or anything like this, they type. So this is what we call it as grafting. Grafting is also called as like a mixture of two different plant characters, like to form a hybrid. Now this will become a hybrid. Wild one will enter, they attach, tissues are gonna attach like this, and what happens, they flower. Okay, they yields a beautiful flowering. They may be disease resistance or water resistance. Okay, so like this they perform the grafting thing. And the last one is a micro propagation. Although they are a kind of propagation, but in a microscopic level. How? By culturing the tissue. What they do, they take tissue or cells. It may be from roots or leaves or stem, anything, any parts of a plant. They collect the tissues or cells, and they grow this tissues or cells in a media. Okay, containing, these are the artificial medium containing culture, and they keep this cells or tissues to grow. Afterwards, what happens, after propagation or proliferation, this will form a new plantlet. Okay, this will form a new plantlet. This is called as micro propagation or tissue culture. Means propagation is done by using tissue or cell in a microscopic level. Okay, this is what about the artificial propagation. One is simple cutting, next is a layering, maybe ground or what air layering, next grafting, mixing the characters of two different plants, maybe desired character also we can say. Okay, last one, the fourth one is our tissue culture or micro propagation. So this is what the artificial vegetative propagation. So in our next class we'll go towards the sexual reproduction, its events and life phases. Okay, thank you.